Alright, I'm going to be doing brakes today. Can't wait to try these bad boys out. We put the Daytona, the safety pads on it, the comfort grip pads. Love the color purple. It's like a metallic purple. I'm going to put it on, doing front brakes and rotors for this 2018 Ford Edge. And we'll see how it goes. Alright, we just loosened up the lug nuts on the two front sides of the vehicle using the breaker bar with the lug nut, the 21mm lug nut socket, non-marring. So they're all loose. We haven't put it up on a jack yet, which we're about to do. So I'm one man filming, so it's going to be a little bit tough to film and do this job at the same time. So we're going to be doing walkthrough steps, step by step. All right. I'm going to put the car in the lift and put the jack stands under it, and then take the tires out, and then I'll continue with the video as soon as I'm done with that. Alright, we got the tires off. Car's jacked up. Here's my little service cart. By the way, I love the service cart. I'm going to do a review on this in the upcoming time to come, months to come, or whenever I have time. But we have both front tires off, sitting on the jack stands. Alright, now we're going to get to the portion where we need to get to over here. So this is going to go with both sides of the vehicle. So we're going to do one side, and then we're going to repeat the other side. So with the pick or a screwdriver or flathead, there are two plastic covers here, right here, and at the bottom. And you just pop it out. You can use a flathead. I'm going to use a pick. And that's where your caliper pins are. So it's not bad. But this is what it essentially, like I said, this is a 2018 Ford F-150. So that's what it looks like. It just pops right out. Like I said, you can use a flathead, screwdriver, or a pick. Anything flat. And you're going to reuse those. And this is going to be both sides of the vehicle. Make sure you have the vehicle parking brake on before you even do anything. So I gotta get the other one, which is down here. It's easy with the pick. All you do is just like give it a little pop and it's in. So there it is, the two little taps. This goes for the same exact thing on the other side. All right. And now what you want to do is, so like I said, first thing you got to do is make sure your parking brake is on. We're going to need a flathead or two flatheads, or a combination of a pry bar, either one, whatever you have, because these clips can be kind of tricky. So what you got to do is you got to take these clips off. And the best way to do it is to put it in here, kind of like pry it up, and then use the flathead, putting it in the hole, and then kind of like pushing it up. I gotta do this two-handed, but so this is how we do it. So you gotta put pressure on it at the same time. With your other hand, put this in there, the flathead, right there, and kind of like push up. And you're gonna do the same thing with both. So the top one's gonna pop out first as you're prying out, and then you're just gonna pop out the bottom one. All right. So I'm gonna do it myself because I can't do it with one hand. All right. So we got this out. This is that little clip that we just saw. I got it out the way I told you to get it out, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to get out because it's got like some rust on it. But all you have to do is just get a wire brush. This is a small one. You can even get a smaller one and get into the nooks and crannies. I just did that with this brush and I cleaned it out so that, especially these tips right here, those tips, and in this little crevice, you get plenty of rust. But I just cleaned it off, and it looks pretty good, pretty decent. You know, you don't have to go overboard with this. Just clean it. Now, this is kind of one of the pain in the butt parts of this job is Ford's a pain in the butt with certain things, with fasteners. So usually you get a bolt where these pins are, but in this case, instead we have the caps. Usually get the caliper pins on a bolt, but the Ford has to do everything difficult. And so in a rare instance of negativity there, I think they do this to frustrate people. You need to pull out the pins. You need an 11 millimeter hex socket. I got two different kinds. I got the Titan, which is kind of like a two-piece built-in on a 1/2 inch, which is my spare socket one, and I got the impact one, gear wrench. Believe it or not, you know, Titans sold at like Advanced Auto Parts, and I'm not sure if they're sold at AutoZone. I got mine on Amazon. I think I paid, I'm trying to remember now, maybe 10, 12 bucks. Could have even been 16, but I doubt it. I think it was more like in the $10, $12 range. But believe it or not, name brand gear wrench, I think I paid 7 bucks for this 11 millimeter. And a lot of your sockets just don't have 11 millimeter because they skip. But I got an 11 millimeter in gear wrench for like 7 bucks on Amazon. Now this is a while ago because I knew I was going to do this job soon. So just be advised, be aware that, you know, I got it a 1/2 inch. So see that? It locks in nice. You got to do the same thing for the top and the bottom. And then to pull it out. So it is what it is. So I just want to let you know. So I'm going to get these pins out and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, so for this part I'm pulling out the pins using my Craftsman V-Series 1/2 inch ratchet, which I love. I love this ratchet. It's a great ratchet. Perfect ratchet for the job. I needed something small, big and powerful, and the 1/2 inch in the V-Series is good. I do have the Icon Gen 2s, which we'll be using potentially. I just need clearance. I have the longer V-Series ones with the flex head, but I figured in this case scenario, the V-Series was the way to go for me. I mean, I have other 1/2 inch, but I just like the feel, the comfort feel of the V-Series ratchet. Just pulling out this pin. And we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. Alright. Bear with me. Alright, so we got unscrewed the pins, the caliper pins from the caliper. But you might need a pry bar to kind of like, so when you're done unthreading it, they're going to stay in there. So you're going to need like a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar. I use the pry bar because I figured that's easier, but the flathead will work perfectly fine. See that? Actually, that's better for that. But you need different sizes. This one's a little one I got, but I used the second smallest one to get those pins out. So you want to get these pins out, and that's what the pins look like. Actually, this one's in decent shape. Not too much rust on it. A little wear and tear, but we'll brush it off, clean it, and then re-grease it. It's definitely going to need grease. Alright, so I got to get this one out. Kind of a pain. Let's see if we can use the flathead in there. It's kind of tough to see in here too. Maybe I should put my light. I gotta. Got one of these lights from the Bauer brand from Harbor Freight. Let's see if we can. You can see it. I think I may have moved a little bit. Might need to jam this screwdriver in more. I'll get back to you. I gotta do this with 2 hands. It's tough with the phone. I'm recording this with my phone. Alright, give me a minute. Alright, this is gonna be a little bit of a pain in the ass, but we're trying to use a pry bar to get the the caliper bracket that was connected to the pins off. The other thing you got to be concerned about is the brake hose. You don't want to let it drop on and put the weight on the hose, so you got to be careful when you're trying to remove this, because you do not want to mess with that brake hose. Also, it's good to invest in a set of caliper hangers, so we can hang the caliper here. I'm hanging it off the shock over here, and that way you don't put no stress on that brake line, on that brake hose, because what happens is you may have to bleed it out and do a lot of that. We want to skip that step. So the best way to do it is get a caliper hanger. This is a Craftsman brand from Lowe's. I think I paid 10 bucks, but you can get the Pittsburgh one. It's perfectly just as good as any one out there. Don't overpay for these things, people. They're only meant to do one thing, and that is to hang the calipers, and they're all made out of steel, so you don't have to worry about quality or anything like that. The Pittsburgh at Harbor Freight is fantastic. It's just as good a quality as this, and it's just a caliper hanger. So I'm going to continue prying this one off, and I'll get with you. Alright, we're back. Got the caliper off. Have it hung from there. This is the side where the caliper thing is. By the way, this brake pad is held on by these clips that are attached to the brake pad. Just for the sake of show you how bad these brake pads are. So this is the outer brake pad. Look how thin that sucker was. It's at 2 millimeters. Here's a brake gauge to show you. Well, maybe 3 millimeters. Yeah, 3 millimeters. Just to show you how bad we needed to change those brakes. We definitely have to change those brakes really bad. So, definitely, it was time. Definitely it's time. This is kind of like a different type of brake than I'm used to. Easy to put on. Easy brake pads to put on. Easy to take off. On these. Those are a little bit different because, like I said, they're on a clip. So, I'm going to need a pry bar or screwdriver. Probably a screwdriver for this one because I've got to pop it out. So I'll just wedge it in there. Might pop it out like this, or use the bigger pry bar. It's good to have a set of good pry bars. Get any brand that you want, whatever works. Hyper Tough makes Wild. You know the company Wild, American tool company. Well, they make the pry bars for Hyper Tough. So they're made in the USA. Actually, I have the whole set, but this is the first one I could reach. So I'm using this set, but the Wild ones are really good. Made in the USA. You can get those at Walmart. Don't put too much stress on that. Well, you kind of want to not put any stress on that hose. We have it there. Use the pry bar to get the back brake pad out of the way, because as I said, it's being held on clips over here and over here. So we'll do that. Okay, so here it is. This is what I'm talking about. So easy to differentiate the front brakes from the back. See these clips? They go right in there, and wow, that is dirty. Look at the difference between that one and the one on the right. Wow, look at this. You can tell there's been some grinding action on this. The wear on the top, this is, look at the wear. So she was getting wear on this car, uneven wear. So the front, the top part of the brake pad was getting more wear on this side than this side. So it's thicker on the bottom. What a difference. Wow. We're definitely going to have to be cleaning that sucker up. So I would suggest cleaning all this. Make sure you clean very good. Use brushes, whatever you can. Wire wheel brushes. You know, stuff like this you put on your drill. Which we're going to do. We're going to be cleaning all this right now. So you don't need to waste your time watching me clean this. Clean all of this. We're going to have to get the rest of this caliper bracket off. But we'll get that off in a minute. First I want to clean the caliper itself. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright, so now that we have this cleaned, look how much better it looks cleaned up. We can probably do a little bit more cleaning there, more brushing. But we got to get the caliper bracket off. This is going to be an 18mm bolt, both here and at the bottom, right there. See it right there? That's it. So 18mm bolt, and I'm going to keep on moving with the process here. I'm going to clean all that jazz. All that's going to get cleaned. A little bit more brushing. Alright, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take those two bolts off and then continue to brush. Alright, they were a little bit tough to do, to get those two bolts out, which they're already loosened enough, but I can finish it off with the ratchet and the 18mm. But to save some time, I used the Gen 2 stubby impact that does 550 foot-pounds. This thing is absolutely a beast. It did the job with the 18mm Quinn impact socket from the master set. Awesome job. This thing is a beast. I have my high torque Craftsman here ready to go in case I need help, but so far I just have to use the stubby. That stubby is amazing. Now I can just finish getting those bolts out with this and the bracket, and then we'll clean that. Alright, we have the bracket off. Now we're gonna brush and clean this, and then we're gonna get the rotor off with the smack down here. We're definitely gonna have to put the smack down. I'm gonna use my Doyle 3-pound sledge, hand sledge. So we're gonna whack it, tap it over here, rotate the tire, the hub, and then keep smacking until we get lucidness, and that'll be it with the rotor. And then we can change to put the new rotors on. Alright, now that I have cleaned this thing as best as I can and the bracket, we have to get the rotor off. And this thing's stuck pretty good, so stuck very good. So we're gonna throw some P to the B blaster. This stuff's a really good penetrant. I've been using it for years. It does the job. We don't have to worry about the stupid rotor anymore because we're not using it. So I'm just gonna hit it with this thing and get it off so we can get the new ones on. Put this thing back together. So you're not gonna see me do that because I'm gonna be struggling with this, probably throwing some F-bombs, and I won't be doing that on this channel. All right, on to the next step is removing the rotors. All right, after some serious whackinage, we got the rotor off. There it is in all its glory. It's going to be cleaned, brushed, wire brushed, drill brushed, cleaned on the hub, and we'll go from there. This is nasty, nasty, nasty. Gotta clean off the lug bolts, but we'll clean it. Gonna make this look pretty and get this going so we can get the brakes, everything back on. Look at all that dust and debris. Look at that. we're gonna clean all this. Definitely. But this sucker's off. Definitely needed some hammering. Alright, on to the next. Okay, we got a lot of it cleaned off. So now it's just brushwork. So it was a good combination of those brushes, this that goes on the drill. This goes, actually you should get one of these. They sell these at Amazon, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone. So this one doesn't. I got this on the die grinder. It's different. I got this at Harbor Freight in a little kit, 2-inch kit, but it's different for surfacing. So I do this for the wheel hubs. This one has a hole in it. So this comes in a kit, like 5 different tips. And what it is, you put it on the drill, and you put it in here to clean around the lug bolts, the lug nuts, see? And it goes in there and it cleans and surfaces the wheel hub. So it's pretty good. I like it. And I just turn this around as I go. That way you see the angles you're working on. It's pretty good. So get these. These are very inexpensive, like 20 bucks. And you can also unscrew it. Like, hold on a second. So you can also unscrew it, and I think there's like an adapter you can put on your impact wrench. But I don't have that one. I have this one right here. So that's the top, and it just goes in. It's indented, so you can screw it on, and then you put it on your drill. Because these things aren't made for high RPM. Technically, I shouldn't even have this on the right angle, but because this is very high RPM. But this is, by the way, the Gen 1. But it does its job. See, does a good job. Goes right to metal, so we don't have to worry about getting seized over here. So we did a good job cleaning. Not bad. Back down to the metal. Now we're gonna paint this with some anti-seize. See that? We're gonna use anti-seize. So this cap has a little brush attached to it, and we're gonna put anti-seize all around this. So we try not to have no seize. But remember, this only goes onto this part. This will not go onto the wheel bearings, none of the bolts or anything like that. This is just for the hub. Okay, but first we're gonna clean. Actually, we gotta clean the rotors. We gotta get the rotors out of the boxes, because all the rotors come with a oily residue. So we got to get the rotors in there. Clean it in here because this is made for use the cardboard so they don't make too much of a mess in the tray, the dip tray. They have like this coating so it doesn't rust when it's at the store and shipped. See that? It's all residue. So the way you clean that is you got to take brake clean. And you got to do both sides. So brake clean cleans really fast. There's 2 kinds of brake clean. The non-chlorinated and the chlorinated. We use the non-chlorinated here. The chlorinated is highly flammable. Non-chlorinated is highly flammable. This thing is flammable as frig. Start some fires with that. So you got to be careful where you're using this. So we're going to clean that off. That's what we need. It smells too. That chemical smell. We have you want to get all that oil, all those oils in and out. See that? In and out. Just spray the whole thing. Clean it. Use a paper towel, rag, whatever you have. Use this paper towel. So now we got a nice little setup over here to clean the next one, the next rotor when we get to that. But we're not going to get to that with you guys on the video. We're only going to do one side. So it is what it is. Basically, it's just a repeat of the side, of one side at a time. So I'm just going to get this brush because I got little fuzzies in there from the paper towel. Because I'm getting in the nooks and crannies. Get the fuzzies. Try not to get the fuzzies in there. But brake clean really dries fast because it's got like, I think it's alcohol, but it's got some alcohol in it or something. Well, it dries fast. So it is what it is. So basically, it's going to be a repeat of, the other side is going to be a repeat of this side. Just opposite. Everything's on opposite side. So basically what you want to do, see, this is what the brush looks like from the anti-seize. You kind of want to brush it in all the crevice, in this crevice right here. I brush it all the way around. And it's going to be coated. I'm going to turn it silver in anti-seize. You know, try to avoid as best as you can the lug nuts, because you don't need to anti-seize that. So it's just paint, not paint, but like a grease, but you're going to paint. So hopefully the next time you got to do brakes, which there will be a next time in a couple of years, 3 years, whatever it is, 4 years, 8 years, however long this lasts. I don't even know if this is probably the first time we might be doing brakes on this car. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't remember. Just don't want to get the rust from the rotors getting stuck on this thing. Yeah, I know some people will say, oh yeah, you're gonna get dirt and grime on it. Well, who cares? This is the way I do it. That's what I do. A lot of people agree with me, and there'll be some that don't agree with me, but who cares? Some people do it this way. And this is the way I do it. The way I learned. And I like this way. Oops. Let me get some of that anti-seize off of that. You don't want it. Silver. Hold on. I gotta get a paper towel here so I can clean the anti-seize off this. I don't want anti-seize on that. Alright, let's continue painting. It's like a paint job, you know? That's all you're doing. Basically painting to prevent rust. Little by little. Alright, so this is what it looks like when we're done putting the anti-seize on. I gotta clean off the lug bolts with the anti-seize on it because it's got some of that. Because I'm not the best at aiming. But a little brake clean. We'll clean that off, no problem. With the paper towel. We'll be good. Alright. Alright, so we have the rotor, the new rotor on. I have a lug nut kind of so it doesn't pop out. See that? The anti-seize is doing a good job. And hopefully it will keep it from rusting. So we have that lug nut in there, so this isn't all shut-quad. It's a little shut-quad, but because it's not long enough, but it's okay. Now we're going to put the bracket back with the bolts. We're going to use some blue thread locker Always use the blue stuff. I don't know why they sell the red. I know the red's for permanent stuff, but damn. Whatever, you know. Put some blue, a little dab right there, a little dab right there. And then we'll put that in there. Everything's cleaned up, ready to go. And then we'll just button this up, and then I'll do the other side, but I won't record it because this is all we need for one side. Button it up. Okay, so when we put the bracket back on, these bolts have to be at about, I have it written down here, 80 foot-pounds. So 80 foot-pounds, it's saying at torque. And then the pins, which we're going to grease, we're going to have to grease that. We're going to put that at 23 foot-pounds. And then the lug nuts get torqued at 162 foot-pounds. So that's the torque rating. So the bolts for the bracket, caliper bracket bolts, 80 foot-pounds. The caliper pins, 23 foot-pounds. And then the lug nuts, 162 foot-pounds. So just take that into consideration when you're putting this all back together. Alright, so let me get to it. Just want to add a correction over here. So I just did a little more looking into it. There seems to be a split into how many, the torque rating on the caliper bolts. Not the pins, but the bolts. So somebody is saying 111 for the fronts. And other people are saying 80, 65, 80. So I'm just going to split it. I'm just going to do like 95 or 100 for the bolts. Just going to keep it like that. Setting it up on my click style. I do have a digital one, but I think I need to get one with a flexor because this is ridiculous, the amount of room I got. And I got this long thing. So I'm just going to do 95 and just spec it like that. Alright, just to let you guys know that the brakes actually come with new pins. But if you have to reuse those, the old ones, clean them up. You don't have to worry about it. But I didn't think the new ones came with these pins. But it does, even better. All new, fresh. So there's the new brakes. We're going to install this one first. And then we're going to use the caliper tool. That's the icon from Harbor Freight. We love this tool. This tool's been really good to us when it comes to getting this stuff squared away. So we're going to use that to push in the calipers over here. And then we can install all that. So the front brake pad is going to go, you got to make sure that which one you have. So that's the thing that goes against the rotor. Make sure you're not confused. This is the back. We're going to put a little grease on the tips. So we have this brake grease. This is what we're going to use also for the pins. Synthetic brake grease. So this is good, and it's not going to disintegrate the rubber. This is actually the little rubber tabs where the pins go in, because you got to make sure you don't put the wrong thing on that, because the rubber will disintegrate over time. You put the wrong stuff on it. This stuff is rubber safe because it's synthetic, made by CRC. CRC is a great brand. By the way, if you get brake cleaner, get the CRC stuff. That stuff's the best. CRC is a really great brand. A lot of people love it. So this is the dealio here. Synthetic brake grease for the pins, and it comes with a little brush that's attached to the cap. So I'm gonna, like I said, brush the tips of the brake pads. Same with here, and then also on the areas where the caliper touches the brake pads, because you don't want metal on metal. You want to be able to have some kind of lubricant, grease, so it doesn't squeak or squeal. So just a little dab right there on the top, a little dab right on the bottom, and then right there where those 3 slots are. So there, there, but on the inside part where it's going to touch this. All right, and also, so I'm going to use this tool. We'll get it ready, actually. This is the caliper stuff that you need. You got to get the right size. This has multiple sizes for a lot of different cars to squeeze those calipers. So you can see it's been used plenty of times. This is the main bracket, and then you get the right size that works for your car, whatever you. So I usually use this one, Icon, really good. It goes in here. Like that, and then you put the corresponding size for the caliper to squeeze it in. Now see these little tabs? Some calipers have like a especially the ones that have the electronic thing on them, have a one that you have to turn as you squeeze, otherwise it won't go in. The ones we have on this, on the disc brakes on this car, is just a squeeze kind. So all I have to do is just put these, these are all magnetic, and it'll just squeeze. But some of them do require the pins that pop out to be able to turn it. So there's that. So you got to just be careful. There's ways of getting around it. They sell like a block. If you don't want to buy this, you can just get the cheap kind of Harbor Freight that squeezes. But then you might need to either use like a needle nose plier to stick it in the little tabs on the caliper to get it to squeeze. So this is a double one. Some only come, like my truck only has one, but so I'm gonna have to take turns squeezing it in, but it's all good. It's all good. So we just have to throw in the brakes on this. We could even put the grease on this thing, on this, but we're just gonna do it on the brakes because it's easier. We have the brakes out, and then we'll work on this. All right, huge. All right, so we're gonna put this, squeeze this in. Just have to line that up like that, and then we're gonna use the handle, and then we're gonna turn it with a wrench, a crescent wrench. I got a Craftsman here, so we're gonna use this to turn it, to finish it, to get it all tight and open. But before you do that, you got to make sure that you take the cap off to your brake reservoir, because you got to take it off the reservoir because there's air. You don't want air to get trapped in there. So you have to I put the cap to the side. You got to make sure there's air going in and out, open, so there's no pressure of air bubbles or anything like that. So very important. That's one of the most important steps, is before you start squeezing this in. Okay, and then we're going to squeeze it in, and then you're going to push a little bit at a time. We're going to do a little bit here and then a little bit here. Take turns. You got to make sure you get the right, which way your threading is going, because this one's a right and a left. We have a right and a left in here. So when it gets kind of tight, that's when you gotta start using the crescent wrench, which is what we have here, right around that, and then squeeze some here, and then take turns, then unscrew it a little bit, put it in here, and you're good to go. All right, so I'm going to do that. Like I said, make sure that's open, the brake, where the brake fluid goes. Okay, we pushed in all the caliper in all the way on both sides, took turns, put some brake grease there, safe for the rubber seals, so that's good. And now we just have to attach this right in, and that should be it for this brake. Make sure you put it in the correct way. So this one's going to be facing the clips on this side. Make sure you have the rounded edge, and then just snap it right in. All right, I snapped this one in. This one's good to go. Now he's got to apply the grease on these, and I got to put the outer brake pad here, but first I got to grease it. So it's going to go like that, but grease the tips. Do not ever put grease or get grease on that, because you're going to be compromised. And don't put grease, ever put grease on the rotor, because you're going to be compromised. The grease is not good for the ceramic brakes or the rotor. Just the metal on metal. Just a little dab, like a little spread right there. That's it. Don't go overboard. I'm going to do it right on the brake itself, so I don't get it messed up on the rotor from here, from this angle, and that's it. So I'm just going to snap it in. First I'm going to put a little bit of grease on it, and that's it. Snap it right in. Alright, that's all you need. Grease and grease. That's it. That's all you need. So that worked out very well. So we pushed the brake pad in there. So now I'm going to grease just this area, because that's where the metal on metal contact is. So got a little bit of grease there. You don't have to go overboard, just right there. And that's it. Now we can apply the caliper right over the brake pads. This is going to be a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. And then we just put the pins back in. We have to grease up the pins too, by the way. So the pins, when they go in, the same grease. Just this area, the tips in. You don't have to grease the whole thing. Right there. So all that. No thread locker, just grease. These are like the pins, the brake pins. No thread locker, just this stuff right here. There's other brands. Just put brake and caliper grease, because it won't harm the rubber. Okay, this is going to be the tricky part. Putting the clip back in. So you gotta want it start at the bottom, like right there, and like push that clip into this part, and then you can snap on the top. So see, put that against that, and then try to snap that part of the clip in that hole, and then you can snap in the rest over there. It's gonna be tricky. It's a two-handed job. All right, see you in a second. But before we do this, that's, by the way, the pin you have to grease up. So we'll put that in first before we put the clip back in. So stand by. We just put it in there. Torque it to 23 foot-pounds. That's the consensus. 23 foot-pounds, 25 foot-pounds, but I'm going 23. And then put the plastic caps back on. Alright, so we got the clip in. It's a real pain in the ass to do, but guess what? It's in. It is in. So now we got to do the other side. I'm about to do left is put the tire back on this, but I'll do that at the end when I'm done with both sides. So this side's done, and I'm not even going to record the other side, because this is all the side you needed to know. It's the same thing for the other side. Alright, so what we did here, after I put the clips on, tires on, they're all torqued to 162 foot-pounds. The cap is still open. So what I did after was, after I put everything away, put everything together, I turned the car on, cap still off the brake fluid reservoir. You got to pump the brakes. Pump all the brakes. Make sure you take the chocks, by the way, off, because I did that last time. Not this time, but last time. I forgot to, and I drove over the chock. But besides that, what I did was I pumped the brakes like 5 times to get them to get stiff. And then I took the parking brake off. Don't forget to shut off the parking brake. Then I got outside and the fluid went down, because it was already up to the top on the fluid thing. So after I did all that pumping, the fluid went back down. I put the cap back on. Then I pumped the brakes some more after all that, like another 5 more times to get them, make sure they were still stiff. And then I took it for a trip. So I did like about a mile trip around the neighborhood. And the car is, the brakes are phenomenal. So The brakes did a great job. Everything was on. Everything came out perfect. We just need to do an alignment on this vehicle, which I'm going to have to pay somebody to go to a tire shop to do that. I'm not going to do that because I don't do that here. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the machines for that. But otherwise, we did what we had to do. We made the brakes happen here. So this 2018 Ford Edge brakes are done. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications. As always, have yourselves a good day, good night.